And a very happy Wednesday to you at 12:07 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
Did I just forget to turn on the anthem for the live stream?
I think you did because I heard nothing.
I forgot to set up my microphone to play during the flag. My bad.
Well, remember when Pia Zadora sang it at a Laker game and forgot the words?
You know what? In order to make it up to everybody, how about we have Kevin De Leon do the pledge?
All rise.
Madam President, today is Tuesday and time for the flag salute.
Mr. De Leon, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning?
Thank you very much, Madam President. It'd be an honor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Indivisible. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's really hard to believe that he lost, isn't it?
Well, unfortunately, he lost to somebody way more incompetent than him.
That is true. Now, his district included Boyle Heights, so he would be down at the disaster zone if he won re-election.
So I guess it worked out for him.
You can smell it right here.
That would be my guess. Now, Randy, we hit a milestone right before showtime.
We have been trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on the Accountability Podcast with John Phillips and Randy Wang. And we said if we could get to 1,000 subscribers this week, we have a very special gift for the audience. Right before the show, we hit 1,000. In fact, I think right now we are a little over 1,000. And so to celebrate, at 2:30 today, set your alarms, we are going to premiere the Kathy from Malibu video. You're going to watch it live here, and then it will go up on the Accountability Podcast feed at 3 o'clock. But we have it for you. And Johnny, speaking of the Accountability Podcast, our last episode is live.
That's the one where Barbara Ferrer and Karen Bass get cursed out in both English and in Spanish over in Boyle Heights.
Yeah.
It is delicious. It is necessary reading. It is so perfect to see these people get just screamed at, well-deservedly so, for all of the failures that they have put upon us.
Oh, and it's so cathartic to listen to, let me tell you.
So if you haven't watched it yet, don't watch it now because we're doing the live show. But at 3 o'clock, check it out. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now for youtube.com/@accountabilitypodcast. But because we got to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to play that special video I made at 2:30. It will be a John Phillips Show world premiere.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to click the like button. That helps us out a lot, getting the show in front of as many eyeballs as possible. There's an algorithm. It's a game, and we just need to be better at playing the game than the competition, so we get in front of as many faces as possible.
We're already at 34 likes, and the show just started, so thank you very much. The share button is also great. Share this with anyone on your social media feed, your friends, your family. You can help market this show for us because we don't have a marketing budget.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, L.A. Mayor Karen Bass just said something that's raising a lot of eyebrows. She told the bums, meth does a body good.
Karen Bass was in Woodland Hills at the groundbreaking of a brand new gigantic tower for seniors of affordable housing. And when talking about the homelessness crisis in Los Angeles, she said something very, very, very Karen Bass-esque. That she totally understands why all the people in the tents are on meth all the time.
Now, she didn't present the meth as if it was kryptonite to Superman, and it was something that should be avoided. she portrayed the meth as being like spinach to Popeye, where the meth gives the bum strength.
For more on this, we go to, seems like he gets the A block more often than not these days, Fox 11 and our buddy Matthew Seedorf.
All day on Fox 11 tonight, a massive affordable housing project set to transform the Woodland Hills skyline. 4 towers.
The traffic is already awful in that part of town. It's going to get so much worse.
And by the way, it's supposed to be for seniors. When they were asked if it would be seniors that move in, they go, well, maybe.
Nearly 3,500 low-income housing units and a $2 billion price tag. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf.
By the way, if you drive through that area right now, especially if you go up and down Owens Mouth on the side of what used to be the promenade, there is just nonstop tents.
Great.
Goes one-on-one with Mayor Karen Bass on the push to build more housing faster and the questions that come with that. Matthew?
Yeah, this announcement just wrapped up a couple of hours ago, as did our interview with Mayor Karen Bass. It sounds like the skyline in Woodland Hills is going to be changing very soon.
See, this is the kind of low-key story you can probably get Karen Bass to go on record about and actually do an interview with Seedorf. But she didn't expect him to be there when she said what you're about to hear her say.
High-end unveiling for one of the biggest affordable housing projects in LA history. 4 glass towers rising as high as 42 stories above Woodland Hills.
Okay, I have a very, very, very basic question. This is for seniors, right?
Allegedly, but in LA, everyone lies about their age, so who knows?
What senior wants to live on the 42nd floor?
Not me.
That was just the beginning.
I'm extremely excited.
Mayor Karen Bass speaking exclusively with
What's with
Fox
the head
11.
bobbing?
Maybe she's just so excited to be in the clean air of the dumpy valley out instead of being in Boyle Heights.
Imagine Karen Bass bobblehead doll night at Dodger Stadium.
Don't give them any ideas.
Telling us this project is moving through her Executive Directive 1, allowing 100% affordable housing projects to skip the typical public hearing process.
Oh, and that's the one that she had to reverse almost immediately because of all the blowback where we were approving 7-story apartment buildings in a single-family cul-de-sac in Sherman Oaks. But anything that got in before she undid Executive Order 1, it's in there, and this is one of these projects. And just remember when you hear the term affordable housing, what that really means is subsidized.
I love the fact that they have all of these ridiculous rules for building something in the city. And everyone has to jump through all of those hoops, including the fire victims. But if it's something they really, really, really want, they just streamline it and bam, it's done lickety-split.
Crazy Eights writes it on YouTube, low-income housing, so they'll cost $3,000 for a one-bedroom.
Probably.
Realistic Raider writes in, you know the real cost will triple $9 billion. Yeah, probably.
It was the beginning of slashing as much red tape as possible.
The price tag around $2 billion. Where is that coming from?
Well, it's public-private, but it's also what they have raised.
So what part of it's public?
Yeah, I like how she just meshes them together real fast.
Again, affordable housing means that we are paying for it. We paid the developers to build these things, and we're subsidizing the rent, which also makes everything else more expensive.
Project is not seeking any.
Also, now that this is specifically catered to a specific class of people and it's cordoned off as affordable housing, that doesn't affect anything going on with market rate housing. So $4,000 one bedrooms in the valley are going to stay $4,000 one bedrooms in the valley.
Direct dollars from the city. A combination of tax-exempt bonds, low-income housing, tax credit investment, private capital as well.
The web of funding for these projects is so unbelievably confusing. To build one building, there's like 12 different buckets of money they get from, and nobody understands how any of it is funded. And if any of those buckets run dry, you have what's going on in Cheviot Hills, a motel that was supposed to turn into a homeless shelter that's been under construction for 6 years.
And the more buckets you have and the more complicated it is, the easier it is for people to stick their hand in the till.
Skyfox above the future site along Canoga Avenue.
Much needed housing to a population that needs it.
Almost 3,500 units are planned, mostly for low-income seniors. What percent of people living here are going to be seniors?
Ooh, I mean, I don't know the exact percent.
So it's not senior housing.
No, of course not. That's how they're going to bill it, but no. Because seniors, you don't have to worry about them doing meth and robbing you and those sorts of things. But if they put the bums in, or they put other people with other problems in, then the community would go nuts and not want it there.
We got a comment here from Tubular Bra on YouTube. I love these names. Where do I register as homeless?
I know that by 2030, 1 million Angelinos will be 60 and over.
During the unveiling, the mayor also...
Yeah, but how much of this building is dedicated towards the seniors, and how much of it is Section 8 for the people currently living in a tent on Owens Mouth?
to address the homeless crisis and open drug use.
You sleep out in the street for a couple of weeks and tell me that you're not using something to stay sane or use meth.
Wait, you need to use drugs to stay sane?
Yeah, I think it's the exact opposite, Karen.
Let me rewind this. You need to hear the mayor in her full words. This is the mayor of Los Angeles, everybody.
Unveiling, the mayor also addressed the homeless crisis and open drug use.
You sleep out in the street for a couple of weeks and tell me that you're not using something to stay sane or use meth so that you don't go to sleep to protect yourself.
After this,
use meth so you don't go to sleep to protect yourself?
That is some reasoning.
You don't understand. All of the people on the streets, they never touched drugs before they ended up on the streets, but they need the meth because, and this is the theory, if they're not high on meth at all hours of the night, they're going to get raped.
How about this? They lived in a house and then they started doing meth, and then no one wanted anything to do with them, so they end up on the streets in the encampments with other people who share their love for meth.
Tom writes in, largemouth bass running her mouth again. Now, Seedorf got to have the mayor clarify her comments.
Speech, we asked the mayor to clarify. You said that people are on the street using meth for protection?
Well, no, what I said
That's literally what you said.
Word for word.
For protection.
No, what I said is that I know that people have used meth to stay awake at night so they don't fall asleep because they're worried about being assaulted.
So they don't get assaulted during the day when they use the fentanyl to go to bed?
It's so funny to hear her words repeated back to her, and she looks at him like, no, that's crazy. Who would say that? Well, you did about 10 minutes ago.
It's on tape. The homeless use the meth to protect themselves, I'm guessing from the other homeless that want to sexually assault them Plattner style.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember on the Chappelle show when they had Rick James on and he made some sort of outrageous remark?
Yes.
And then they asked him, what about this that you just said? He goes, I never said that. And then they rewind the tape and they play it right back.
That is exactly what this is. And I would love to play that clip, but it is not safe for air.
Meth is not protection.
From the new...
You just said meth is protection. Share it far, share it wide, share today's show with anybody you know that lives in Los Angeles. You heard her say it and then deny it. Karen Bass believes meth is for protection.
Towers soon rising above Woodland Hills to the people sleeping on LA streets. The mayor says both are part of the same fight.
My goal has always been to end street homelessness. And
You said you were going to end it by 2026. John, what year is it?
Well, let me look at my watch. Oh, yeah, it's 2026.
had bumps along the way, especially bumps in funding.
And bumps of meth.
Lots of bumps of meth, for protection.
And then we have changes on the federal level. But regardless, I'm going to stay to it.
A whole lot of questions remain about this project, including about traffic and parking. They said that.
Oh, it's going to be a nightmare. And I go to that area a lot to go to the villages. Jason writes in on YouTube, you only need about 3% of the units classified as low income to qualify it for all of the low income burning permits and free government money. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Also, these things are always temporary. Then they go to market rate, and then we constantly say there's not enough affordable housing.
Well, and just think about this for a second. The San Fernando Valley is filled with ranch-style single-family homes. That's how it was built. That's what the infrastructure is there for. Then all of a sudden, in the middle of an area with single-family ranch-style homes, you make it look like Midtown Manhattan, and you put a bunch of people on meth in those buildings.
Sounds like a great idea.
There's going to be about 800 parking spots, and they estimate that this project could have construction.
Wait a second. 800 parking spots for 3,000 units?
That seems about right.
Completed by around 2029. We're live tonight downtown. Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Yeah, Matthew, you talk about the traffic. I know this area well. Behind where they're going to build this, there's a luxury.
I thought Glenn was a Valley guy.
Senior apartment building. It's called the Varial. There's also one under construction on Canoga and Burbank Boulevard. Between that, you've got what Stan Kroenke's doing at the Warner Center. They're tearing down the Promenade Mall. They're going to build Rams Park. I mean, can the roads handle all that traffic?
I'll answer for you. They cannot.
They can't handle the traffic they already have.
Yeah, that's a question that a lot of residents are going to be having, but as we just heard, they're going to have about 800 parking spots, about over 3,000 units of people living inside.
800 parking spots for 3,500 units. Okay.
Yeah, Glenn's not buying it.
No. What could go wrong over at Meth Towers?
We got a comment here from Matthew. Karen and Nithya would cause people to use drugs just to stay sane with each other's policies.
Yeah, no kidding. And they're selling it to us like the Golden Girls are going to move in. It's the John Phillips Show. I want to read for you a portion of a 5-star review for CarPro.com from listener Scott, who loved his experience with CarPro.com and Tustin Mazda. Scott writes, I followed the CarPro process and then called the dealership to get the process started on Thursday. I spoke with Jim, who told me that he would check the pricing on the CX-5 that I wanted. On Friday, he called with the pricing I wanted. I made airline reservations for Saturday. Josh, Jim's associate, followed up with me in the morning and asked if I'd like a ride from the airport to the dealership. He picked me up at the curb, took me to the dealer. 2 hours later, my wife and I were on our way to the beach with our new car, with Chick-fil-A provided by the dealer. You can't beat that kind of service and pricing. If you want this kind of concierge VIP treatment and amazing pricing, go to carpro.com and enter all your info, or you can call or text message the head honcho, Tom Haynes, directly at 818-435-6797. 1-800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And you can not only listen to the radio show being performed, but you can watch us, you can participate in the chat, and you can click the like button.
We are broadcasting live every single day from noon to 3 at youtube.com/@RandyWang Radio. We hit 2,500 subscribers last night on this channel, so thank you so much. The like buttons help out. Sharing the show with your friends and your social network, that helps as well. 2,500. We're also on X at Johnny Don't Like, on Facebook at KEBC Radio, and Facebook at 810 KSFO, and on Twitch at Randy Wang Radio.
It's the John Phillips Show. We're just getting started. Stick with us.
I love the city of Santa Fe, and I have been going there for over a decade, multiple times a year. I've already spent 3 whole weeks there, and it's not enough. I'm not going back until like late August, and I'm so jealous of everyone that's going there right now. Listener Tony's going out there very soon. Very exciting. Here's something that's cool. One of my favorite hotels, which also has one of my favorite bars in the city, is the Inn on the Alameda and Joe's Tequila Bar. And the Inn on the Alameda yesterday celebrated their 40-year anniversary. It is a lovely hotel that is got a great price point and is right there close to everything. I love the Inn on the Alameda. And if you've never been a tequila person, go to Joe's Tequila Bar once and your whole worldview will change. It's never been easier to get to the city of Santa Fe. There's a daily direct flight on American from LAX to the Santa Fe airport. I've taken that flight a bunch of times. It's great. Go to Santa Fe this summer. You'll love it.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Our buddy Scott Allen Myers writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Karen Bass has said this before about using meth for protection. I wish that she would have asked, then what's the excuse for fentanyl, lady? This is just her way of asking us to stop complaining about the drug dealers.
Maybe the meth is like Wonder Woman's lasso.
Somebody just pointed out on the feed something that I didn't notice. Shelly writes in, on the picture of me, of John and I as goat herders, apparently the AI gave me 3 hands.
Oh. Well, maybe you ate some fish out of the Tijuana River.
That's exactly what happened. Look, it is not an exact technology, and I'm making these things on very little sleep with not a lot of time. There will occasionally be a mistake, but that's the fun of it.
800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. There is a battle a-brewing in the city of Dumpy over street vendors.
There's new regulations being put on street vendors, and certain street vendors are not happy about it. For more on this, let's go to KPIX in the Bay.
A group of street vendors in Oakland say enforcement actions against them have become increasingly aggressive. So here we see one vendor being arrested by Lake Merritt and a tent destroyed. And then today, vendors address City Council about what they say are threats to a form of commerce that is part of the city's tradition and identity. But as John Ramos reports, the city says they are just enforcing the rules.
What? We don't do that in Oakland. That's what everyone's freaking out about.
You know, if you have a restaurant, you have to get inspected by the county health department. They come by, they test things. They test the temperature in the refrigerator. They make sure there's no rodents. And at the end, when they add everything up, they give you a letter grade. The same thing is true for the street vendors, only they don't get tested for anything. The letter grade that they have just tells you what kind of hepatitis you're going to get.
For many small business owners in Oakland, their brick and mortar is what's under their feet. And on this day, a group
So where are they dumping the grease?
Well, that goes directly into the ocean.
of sidewalk vendors approached the city about what they say are heavy-handed tactics designed to put them out of business. On Foothill Avenue in Oakland's Fruitvale district, the street vendors were busy on this afternoon, preparing food and drinks for their customers. But one small group took the day off to appear before members of the city council.
I want you to know that street vending is not just about food or commerce, it's about dignity.
Does she have a nose ring?
It looks like it.
It's either a nose ring or there's a big old boogie she didn't pick.
Uh-oh.
It's about who gets to exist in public space.
Nita B is an activist and street vendor and says it is part of an Oakland tradition that goes back generations. But beginning on April 1st, she says the city began cracking down on unlicensed sellers. Videos show city workers tearing down canopies and throwing coolers and grills into garbage trucks to be crushed as the owners looked on.
Okay, that's a little cruel. What did the Yeti do to you?
Okay, I don't think I'd ever consume any food that's purchased by a woman on the street with a nose ring.
Also looks like the nose ring's a little small.
Agencies have been working together to come onto street vendors without notice, without warning, without citation, and throw away their
Wait, I don't
entire
think
set.
that's a nose ring anymore. I think that is like a mole.
Nita, you might need to go to a dermatologist. You might want to get that checked out. I retract my statement. You're right. That was not a nose ring or a booger. Now I feel bad.
Not just food, but canopies, tables, grills, refrigeration, everything. It's devastating. People have completely lost their ability to sustain themselves. They've destroyed people's entire livelihoods.
Councilmember Ken Houston says he believes people should be given fair warning, but he makes no apologies for the new enforcement efforts.
If you got a permit and you're legal, it's okay. If you're blocking the sidewalk, you don't have trash service, you don't have a health certificate by the Alameda County, you need not be there. period, right? You have to follow the rules. The city is now enforcing rules, right? This is what we're doing now. You have a new administration, you have a new mayor, you have change in the city of Oakland. If you're used to doing business the old way, it's not going to happen any longer.
But I like Ken Houston.
Good for him.
Do you know who hated Ken Houston with the hot, hot hate of 1,000 Suns?
Is it our girl Shangy?
No, it's the other one.
I've been bipped several times.
Bippy hated Ken Houston. But it's not a difficult thing to ask, okay? You need to get a permit. You need to get an inspection. That's not super onerous. Now, does that mean they need to crush the coolers? Maybe not, but you got to have certain kinds of standards. Otherwise, it's a free-for-all like we see in Los Angeles, like we see in the Mission, or like you now see in the gas lamp in San Diego.
I'm all for cooler crushing. You got to send a message.
It's not hard for the actions to turn tense. Last week, a young woman named Joyce Morale was swept up by police investigating a vendor illegally selling alcohol. She was quickly released, but she says
She hiding beers in the hot dog cart.
I bet you she moves a lot of them if she does.
Doesn't take much for things to take on a violent edge.
I think it's very strong and aggressive. You know, Oakland has always had vendors.
Okay, now that girl has a nose ring.
100%.
I'm 1 for 2.
Years. Like, this is not something new that just happened to pop up overnight.
Does it feel like a concerted effort now?
I feel like they definitely don't want us there for sure. I think that hopefully us showing up today and talking about it, they realize that we see what's going on and we're trying to organize within ourselves.
I think that we're at the point where something has to change, because it's becoming so popular.
Jermaine Brewer is a vendor who can see both sides. He understands why owners of brick and mortar businesses would object to him simply setting up a canopy on the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's kind of like unfair competition.
If you're going to allow that to happen, and they don't have to be inspected by the county, and they don't have to pay for permits to the city, and do all of the things that a brick and mortar business has to do, including being ADA compliant and the rest, then you should just eliminate all of those requirements for everyone else. They'd never do that, of course. So what they choose to do is just look the other way when the street vendors do it. But that's not fair. You have to treat everyone equally. And if you're going to force the brick and mortar restaurants to comply with all of those rules and regulations, then the street vendors should have to do it too.
But he says most vendors are simply utilizing one of the few ways they have to make an honest living.
Okay, that was like 3 different deep fryers in that thing. Where are they dumping the grease?
Good question.
Without selling drugs, then it'd be a totally different thing. So I think people are just trying to find a ground in entrepreneurship and move forward, that can put us in a better place.
He hopes a compromise can be reached that will allow people like him who dream of bigger things to get their start.
So the
Meanwhile, LA County doubles down in the other direction. We're actually giving away free carts to anyone that wants them.
Yeah, because they've just turned it into a civil rights issue. They assume that all of them are illegal aliens, so they don't want ICE to deport them, so they bend over backwards to make them happy.
Well, and that is something specifically that was done by now insurance commissioner, but then state senator Ricardo Lara.
I'm very kind of sketched.
Who passed a bill, I think I have this correctly, SB 946, in 2018 that decriminalized all aspects of street vending if the counties opted in. San Francisco opted in, San Diego, Los Angeles, I believe Alameda opted in as well. So even if they're actually, based on what we're seeing here, Alameda might have not opted in, because when there's ever issues with street vendors, the police are not allowed to be involved in the Mission in San Francisco, in MacArthur Park, where they're just selling stolen goods in Los Angeles. And we're seeing all kinds of fights about the San Diego police not being able to enforce the ordinances to ban the street vending in the gas lamp. Alameda County may have not opted into that law, which is why you saw OPD shutting down some of these street vendors that don't have permits.
Good.
Say they would like.
Might be the first time on the show we said Alameda County did something better than the others.
To open a dialogue with the city, something they say didn't happen before enforcement actions began.
So there you go. That's going on. That's what's going on with the Oakland street vendors. Ken Houston keeps it simple. If you want to vend on the street, you got to get a permit. That doesn't seem too onerous now, does it?
I love that. It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. We have just under 100 likes. Thank you so much for all of our listeners and viewers on YouTube who are clicking that like button, keep it going. We want to get that number as high as possible to push the show in front of as many eyeballs as possible. So thank you to those who have already clicked like, and if you're watching us and haven't done it yet, please click that like button.
We want to get to 500 by the end of the show. We're convinced that if we get to 500, YouTube starts pushing us further to other places. So smash that like button if you can.
Now, Randy, we have breaking news coming from the floor of the United States Senate.
Breaking is the appropriate term for this story, that's for sure. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, had a very important speech to talk to his coworkers and his fellow senators on the floor. Let's see what he has to say.
Now on Iran and the NDAA.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
The American people need to know, of course, how and why this chaos is spreading through their streets, and we need a complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump...
Okay. Just in case you're listening on the radio and you're not watching us, he's not seated in a chair, because sometimes you can be seated in a chair and it's a leather chair, so if you move, it can make a noise like that. He is standing erect, reading a speech off a lectern, and there is no chair that he is touching.
And you can actually, if I rewind the tape a little, you can see him move around his body and reposition himself to, well, what do they call that again, Imelda? What is the thing that he is doing?
Broken windy theory.
That.
Complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all...
That is some straight up old man fart.
Well, it's not as bad as what Joe Biden did around the Pope. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Quite frankly,
too much airline food.
Let's move on.
All right. The residents of Newport Beach are furious over what happened on July the 4th when a bunch of jackass teens came in from other states and trashed their town.
They want changes, and guess who's here to report on it? That's right. It's the best in the business, Fox 11's Ed Lascos.
Chaos on the Balboa Peninsula. Thousands flooded the area on the 4th of July after a social media post went...
Those are some well-trained horses to deal with all those brats.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Ed level.
Viral, leading to over 400 arrests and 10 fires. So tonight... officials in Newport Beach are meeting to see what they can do to prevent another takeover. We go live to Fox 11's Ed Lascos in Newport Beach. Ed.
Christine, all the top city leaders here, like the mayor, the city's police chief, and most importantly, the neighbors, members of the community who got right in the middle of all of this chaos, and they're upset not because of what happened, but because it happened yet again. As I'm sure you know, Newport Beach, no stranger to rowdy crowds on a 4th of July, but nothing like what hit the city just a couple of weeks ago. Watch.
I love him. He's the best.
I can't wait to hear him narrate it.
It was the 250th celebration on the 4th of July. If we don't understand that some people are going to get out of control, then what are we doing here?
It's all the fallout from this. The July 4th weekend of chaos, leaving Newport Beach reeling, the rowdy crowd out of control, thousands taking over the beach and nearby streets in Balboa Peninsula. It's unlawful. It's dangerous until police move in, shutting it down, but not before. More than 400 arrests.
So glad Ed's back from vacation.
Well, I love the fact, too, that they made arrests in this particular case, because how often do we have street takeovers in L.A. where businesses are destroyed and intersections are taken apart and no one gets arrested, no cars are impounded? In Orange County, they do not play.
That is the big difference between this story and so many other stories we've covered. You've got to see that in Orange County, arrests were made. A lot of them.
Calling, we keep asking for questions, we keep asking for help, and we don't get it. So by the time we call, the fireworks are gone, nothing gets done.
They are the neighbors who say they have seen this rowdiness before, and now they're caught right in the middle of it yet again.
Last 4th of July, which was also a disaster, right? And this was exponentially worse than last year. And we were told last year this is going to happen again, and it did.
Reason enough for this emotional face-to-face with the mayor and the city's top cop, its police chief, by some who say they've now lost trust in this city.
A lot of us have lost that. We don't feel safe in our community. I don't feel safe in my store trying to conduct business.
Last year's 4th of July was a warning. Many residents voiced concerns, including me, without a response.
I love that he gave him the "I told you so."
You need the "I told you so." Also, can I just rewind the tape for just a second?
Yeah.
This cop in the corner, that is one look.
He looks like Charlie Chaplin.
A little bit.
Without a response.
The response now coming from the community, calling for a crackdown on the size of the crowds over July 4th, a crackdown on the social media and its messaging, and even more, a crackdown and more control over the Airbnbs, the short-term rentals.
People that came here spent the night somewhere at the end of the day, and I do believe short-term rentals can easily be overrun.
Well, there is a point there. If you're staying at a hotel, you kind of have to say who's going to be in the hotel. You can have a pack of 12 teens take over an Airbnb, and then it gets all crazy.
Have you stayed at an Embassy Suites lately?
I have not.
Every single one of those rooms looks like a clown car.
Oh, boy.
I don't know how many people they're meant for. I stayed at one up in Sacramento, and I saw a door open of a room on the way to the elevator. And people just kept coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out and coming out. And I thought to myself, is this Lion Witch in the Wardrobe or something? Is there some land of Narnia that this is leading to? How many people can fit in one of these rooms?
The Raven writes in on YouTube, that council meeting looks like a Karen takeover.
I like that guy's shirt, though.
And Barry writes in and says, get off my lawn.
And now live, that is part of the crackdown that many of the neighbors want to see here, especially the size of the crowd itself, making a point that whenever you have a big event, a big venue, they have a capacity. And once the crowd hits that capacity, they stop. They don't allow any more in. In this case, not allowing any more to cross the bridge onto the peninsula. We'll have to wait and see what type of action, what type of these recommendations city leaders take. So this doesn't happen yet again next July 4th. For now, we're live here in Newport Beach. Back to the west side we go.
At last goes everybody down in Newport Beach.
You see, this is why in so many beach communities, they make it very difficult to have access to the beach. How often do we do stories in Malibu where residents, including, I believe, Barbara Streisand is one of them, where they find ways to illegally block access to the beach so that people can't get to the sand? Because if you can get to the sand, for many of them, that's their backyard. So they want to keep you out. They want to keep the riffraff out. But I think that that's not legal. I don't think you're allowed to do that. You're technically supposed to allow access to things like the beach. But the people who live there definitely don't want the trash coming in from other areas and wrecking their city.
It does happen.
It did happen. And it almost happened in Huntington Beach, too, and then Knott's Berry Farm.
They shut that down before it even started. So we've seen some real positive improvements in Orange County. You want to do that nonsense? You do it up here in L.A.
That's right. They shut it down so fast, those kids didn't even get to taste any boysenberry. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on The John Phillips Show. Don't you go anywhere. Crime is up all over the state.
The homelessness in the city is out of control.
The economy is sick. Taxes are high.
Housing is expensive and businesses are leaving.
California needs fixing. And John Phillips is just the man to lead the charge. It's the Fix California Hour with John Phillips and Randy Wang.
And we continue at 1:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, we are broadcasting live on the radio on 790 KABC in Southern California and 810 KSFO in the Bay Area, but we are also broadcasting live on video, youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. You can also
do a Google on YouTube
and just search John Phillips Randy Wang. It should pop up. If that doesn't work, go to KABC.com and there's a link on there. If that doesn't work, then just email us and we'll send you the direct link. But we got a ton of people in the chat room playing along, hanging out with us. We'll put some of your chats on the screen and make sure you hit that like button. We want to get to 500 likes by the end of the show. We think that helps YouTube push us out to even more places. You are our no-budget marketing team, and we appreciate it.
And because we reached 1,000 subscribers to the Accountability Podcast, which, by the way, dropped at midnight. That was the podcast about Barbara Ferrer and Karen Bass getting screamed at and cursed out in Boyle Heights. Because of that, the audience gets a treat today at 2:35.
At 2:35, you will be here for the world premiere of another brand new video. Last week, we played you the Katie Porter video. We've got another very requested call from this show's history. The video version of Kathy in Malibu premieres today at 2:30 because you subscribed to the Accountability Podcast. And like John said, our newest episode is up. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it at 3 o'clock today as John and I hear Barbara Ferrer and Karen Bass getting cussed out by the Boyle Heights constituents.
All right. As we mentioned before, the situation in Boyle Heights is not getting better. In fact, it's getting worse. And now it looks like the effort to clean things up and make that neighborhood smell better is not going to finish on time, or at least not on the timeline that the mayor gave. For more on that, here's Randy Wang.
It's time for another segment of
You can smell it right here.
This time, Senator Alex Padilla toured the rotting warehouse. You know who still hasn't toured it? Gavin Newsom.
Where the hell is Gavin?
Probably doing someone's podcast, talking about socialism. For more, here is CBS in Los Angeles.
And to our continuing coverage of the warehouse fire in Boyle Heights now. The heat is making the smell of rotting food in the facility even worse amid the cleanup.
Oh, boy.
But don't worry, the city of LA will have an air purifier for you sometime next month.
People without AC at home are forced to suffer the unbearable stench by opening their windows or...
I do not understand, especially, maybe for the beach cities, I get it. But even then, how do you live anywhere in LA without air conditioning?
I don't know, and I especially don't know how you do it when you can't open up your windows because of that.
Struggle in the heat inside their sweltering homes.
CBS LA's Lori Perez is live in Boyle Heights tonight, where a senator is calling on the EPA to get involved. Lori.
They'll be there right after they do the Tijuana River.
I love the fact that they're trying to turn this into a federal problem when the locals drop the ball right and left, but all they want to do is congratulate each other for their leadership, and no one's willing to be critical of anyone else.
Well, guys, the smell is so bad tonight. I hate to tell
Oh, poor lady. Lori got the short straw tonight.
you that. Late this afternoon, the agency that monitors air quality throughout Los
She looks like her eyes are watering in the middle of this report. This poor reporter.
Wouldn't yours be? I'd be wearing goggles. I'd show up looking like James Worthy.
I'm just going to say it right now. We're offering a lot of stretch goals to get people to subscribe to this channel and the Accountability Podcast. It'd have to be an astronomical number to get us to do a live remote from Boyle Heights. I'm not saying no, but you got to make it worth it.
Angeles issued a second citation to Lineage for the lingering odor from that rotting smell that you've been talking about from the burned out warehouse behind us. You can see there's still a lot of work going on tonight, and there is a haze of something, some steam rising as the work continues tonight.
Some steam from what? The pig carcasses?
I don't know what the steam is coming from, but there's no way it can be good.
Senator Alex Padilla got to smell it for himself.
Oh, good Lord.
You can smell it right here.
Oh, I'm sure he is so glad he came back to California for this.
Welcome home, Alex.
And smell why some locals are scared to breathe.
It is. Just because the fire's out doesn't mean that this situation is over.
No, in fact, it just begun.
Oh, yeah.
By the LA Fire Chief, Senator Alex Padilla took a smelly tour of Boyle Heights today, greeted by angry locals and the reek of spoiling food.
And I want you to feel our indignation when we hear our parents talk about their children.
Isn't she the one that cussed out Ferrer?
She sounds like her. I didn't get a good look at her when we did the podcast, but she certainly does sound like her.
After the show at 3 o'clock, you got to watch our accountability podcast because these ladies gave Bass and the fake doctor an earful.
Having blood come out of their nose.
Padilla says he is calling on the Environmental Protection Agency.
Wait, that sign said give the East Side what the Palisades got? The Palisades got bupkis.
Well, they're getting that too. I guess that's equity, Randy.
Do they want fire aid money that went nowhere too?
Echoing local calls for stronger public health protections during the cleanup and consistent, clear updates about what's in the air and the water post-fire. He says he knows.
Oh, boy.
Well, you know there's something in the water because the people are all getting rashes when they take showers.
Yep.
Those neighbors are worried about living next to these industrial complexes.
So the potential for something like this to happen only exacerbates ongoing environmental justice challenges that we have in the community. So we have to get the answers. We have to not just remediate to what was, we have to remediate to better.
That's long term, but tonight neighbors are reporting an infestation of rats and flies attracted by the very smell that repels humans.
At what point do we just say, screw it, and we move the whole city 5 miles east?
You know, they did that in Houston.
That's
Houston
right.
used to be in Galveston, and then it got leveled by one too many hurricanes, and they said, all right, we're picking up and moving.
Houston 2.0.
If you have rotten food, all kinds of meats in front of your face all day, every day.
That is quite a description.
These poor, poor people.
As temperatures have risen, the odor has grown as neighbors continue to hide inside with doors and windows closed. Some, like Alexandra Dominguez, who says she's missed work and paid for hotels, have finally gotten vouchers for a few days at Airbnbs far from here.
That'll do it. A couple of days at an Airbnb.
Yeah, go down to Newport Beach and tear that town up.
Others want Governor Newsom to issue a mandatory evacuation so they can get help with mortgage and rent relief or help relocating.
Well, first you'd have to get Gavin to pay attention to this issue, which he is not going to do. He is termed out. He doesn't give a crap about this. He's not going to go down there and smell it.
No, because then there's going to be images of him at an environmental disaster in his own state where the residents are going to be cursing him out for not showing up until very late in the game.
As of today, Lineage is reporting crews have removed about 365 tons of food waste out of 85 million pounds.
Okay, I had to do this math this morning because hearing those numbers, you might be confused because they're comparing tons to pounds. So in case you were an LAUSD graduate, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So if they have now moved out 350 tons. Remember, Karen Bass gave them a 45-day timeline to clear out everything. We are now a week and a half into that, and they've cleared out 350 tons. So you need to ask yourself first, okay, well, how many tons is 85 million pounds? I'm glad you asked. I did the math this morning. It's 45,000 tons. So that means we have yet to move even 1% of the rotting food. We are at 0.8% of all the food that's out there, and this is going to be done by mid-August? I don't think so. One of the things that I learned from watching that entire town hall was the guy from Lineage who was getting questioned over and over and over again about this 45-day magical timeline from Karen Bass, where she first said, we're going to beat that timeline, then said, yeah, usually a project of this scope would take 6 months.
Oh, I think that's about what it's going to take. And just because they move all of the rotting food out doesn't mean the smell is going to go away, because there's still going to be remnants of all of that stuff. But just because the big pieces got removed doesn't mean it's going to suddenly start smelling like a can of Lysol.
They've wrapped the outside with tarp to contain the smell.
How's that working out?
Well, based on the fact that everyone in these reports are in masks, leads me to believe it's not working.
So we know what it smells like outside of the tarp, but if you're one of these contractors that's going in there to remove the rotting pig meat, what do you think it smells like inside there?
How much do you think they're getting paid to do that?
All kinds of hazard pay, I'm sure.
The roof is now open. A month after the fire, 80-year-old Consuelo says, for all of us who live around
I understood nosotros means us.
Here, it's been hell. Today, we ran into another local volunteer group going door to door, offering to help with utilities, rent, or anything they can.
I feel sad. It's amazing that they have not cleared that. It's been like a month.
It actually has been like a month. And just to reiterate, this is the fact that you need to take away from today's show is that they have not even cleared 1% of the rotting food. Not 1%.
Well, it's a year and a half after the Palisades fire, and 1% of the homes have been rebuilt. That's it.
Well, actually, it's worse than that. In Altadena, it's like 1%. In the Palisades, it's 0.4%. Do a lot of math.
Now, as far as the second citation Lineage got today, there could be financial penalties if the problem is not addressed. Neighbors on this street tell us Lineage was going door to door yesterday, handing out more air purifiers and air conditioners.
That's not going to do it.
Nope, not even close.
But some say it is too little, too late. We're live in Boyle Heights tonight. I'm Lori Perez, CBS LA.
Please don't make her do another hit. Let her go home. That's a tough one.
What kind of migraine headaches do you think you end up with if you do a live shot over there?
You'll probably end up, if you do enough of those live shots, sounding like Serene Branson when she had the mini stroke.
All right, you want a prediction out of me as to what's going to go on with the situation?
I would love that.
Okay. In the case of what's going on in the Palisades, those people are getting screwed in different ways. And my guess is there will be a lawsuit of some form against the city of Los Angeles for their role in that devastation. And I think that those people will get a check of some size because of it. The fact that the man who allegedly started the fire could not be convicted because so many people on the jury thought that the city of LA was responsible leads you to believe that a civil jury would be quite generous to the victims if given the opportunity to be. So those people, I think, it's going to take forever, and it's going to take a lot of hardship, and it's going to take a lot of misery and a lot of lost years of your life, but at some point, they're going to get a big check. These people are going to get nothing, because here's what's going to happen. There's going to be a lawsuit. There's going to be some kind of class action lawsuit against those responsible for this. And when the money is determined, what they're owed, the money is not going to go to them. The money is going to go to the NGOs who are allegedly there to help them. So all of the groups who are already getting money from the city of Los Angeles, who are clearly not doing anything to help these people in any measurable way, will then get even more money after the lawsuits happen, because that's where the money's going to go.
Look at this comment we got here from Crazy Eights. With the tarp, they're just growing anaerobic bacteria instead, also raising the humidity, encouraging mold growth. Sounds like a bad idea to me. And look at this comment from Hammer Hyena. I love these usernames. I actually wonder if it would have been better to just let the whole thing burn down so at least the meat got cooked off.
Well, you have Barbara Ferrer from the county, and you have Karen Bass, who went down there and told them that it's perfectly healthy to breathe in the fumes, that it's not unhealthy. Yet you hear these stories from the people who live there, and they're all consistent. Apparently, their lungs are full of fluid, and they have blood coming out of their noses. That doesn't happen under normal circumstances. So clearly, they're sick. They're being exposed to all kinds of dangerous chemicals and smokes that is doing foul things to their bodies. And the government is just denying that it's happening. The government is just saying, no, it's safe. And we're going to give you Tylenol if you come into one of our public health clinics and everything's fine.
That was the main criticism that Babs got that you can see on the Accountability podcast. People were going in, their lungs were filled with phlegm. They wanted x-rays. They wanted to get pumped. And they were saying, oh, here's some Tylenol. Maybe Tylenol PM. You can have a nice night's sleep. James writes in on YouTube, thousands of hanging little pine tree fresheners. That'll fix it.
That's the type of thing that they're doing. What a mess. I'll tell you, if you want my advice, if you live in that neighborhood, it's the same advice that I would give you if you lived in the Palisades. Cut bait and move, because it's not coming back to normal anytime soon, and you're just going to get jerked around for a very long period of time. And it's not worth it, ultimately. Just pack up your stuff and move to a different neighborhood. It's the John Phillips Show. You know, when people think about serious injuries, they usually think of broken bones, something obvious. But one of the most serious injuries people deal with after an accident is actually vision loss. After a car crash, a fall, or a head injury, your eyesight can change, sometimes right away, sometimes it takes weeks or months later. Blurry vision, double vision, headaches, trouble focusing, and a lot of times the eyes look fine, but the brain isn't processing what it's seeing correctly. That kind of injury affects everything: your work, your driving, your independence. And if someone else's negligence caused it, that's not just an inconvenience, it's a real long-term issue. That's why I trust and recommend Fielding Law. They don't just look at what's obvious, they understand brain and vision injuries and how deeply they impact your life. If you or someone you care about is dealing with a vision problem after an accident, call Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK or find them online at clarkthesharklaw.com. That's clarkthesharklaw.com, 833-88-SHARK. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to watch us perform the show live and participate in the chat and smash that like button, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is watch us at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. You can also go to Googling on the YouTube.
Google on YouTube.
John Phillips, Randy Wang. It should pop up that way. If you still can't find it, go to KABC.com or KSFO.com. There's a link there. And if you still can't find it, send me an email. Although nobody has sent the email today, so I think everyone's having an easy time finding it for once. So once you're on there, participate in the chat room. We're having a lot of fun in there. And hit that like button. We'd love to get to 500 by the end of the show. It helps YouTube push us out even further. It's very simple. Just hit the thumbs up. If you want to as well, you can share the show. Share it with your friends, your family, your social circles. It all helps us. We don't have a marketing budget, so you're our marketing budget.
And earlier this morning, a brand new episode of the Accountability Podcast dropped and is now live.
Accountability, accountability, accountability.
After the show, if you haven't seen it yet, you've got to watch John and I break down Karen Bass and Barbara Ferrer getting cussed out at the Boyle Heights Town Hall. It is a delicious 45 minutes, totally worth your time. And you can watch it at the Accountability Podcast by going to youtube.com/@accountabilitypodcast, which we are now at 1,033 subscribers, which means, Johnny, we have a special treat at 2:30.
That's right. We're going to see one of your AI depictions of probably the most famous call to ever come into the radio show.
Kathy from Malibu, the world premiere video is at 2:35. So tell your friends, tell your family, get everyone. If you're driving right now, make sure that you pull over to watch us on YouTube at 2:30. You're not going to want to miss this. It is it's pretty fantastic.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes, I think I'm going to get this right, Kolo Heikai at the Pacific Amphitheater at the OC Fair on July 24th. Tickets are on sale now at packamp.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. All concert tickets included admission to the OC Fair. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing.
Coming up next, we're going to open up the California crime blotter. Don't you go anywhere. Buying a car doesn't have to be painful. Just ask listener Pat from Woodland Hills, who went through CarPro.com. After giving all of his info to CarPro.com, Pat was contacted by Dan at the dealership and got exactly what he wanted, which was a RAV4. Dan got right back to him, asked all the right questions, and kept him updated the whole way through. When he picked up his vehicle, Dan greeted him personally, introduced him to the team, and took him on a full test drive. Then they spent 30 minutes together after the sale going over all the features, the cameras, the bells and whistles, how to set everything up. He said it was the easiest car buying experience he's ever had, and he got excellent pricing too. He's already recommending CarPro and the dealership to all of his friends and coworkers. If you want that kind of VIP treatment, go to CarPro.com, or you can go right through the head honcho himself. I'm going to give you his personal cell phone number, 818-435-6797, 818-435-6797. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button. All right, Randy, it's now time to open up the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
I see. Time for the California Crime Blotter.
And the first edition of today's blotter takes us to Sacramento,
where somebody keeps stealing a family's slow down in the neighborhood sign. You know, the little green figure that looks like a turtle? Someone keeps stealing it because I guess they don't want to slow down in the neighborhood around the kids. For more on this, we go to CBS in Sacramento.
Stealing in a Sacramento neighborhood.
Who steals that?
What would you do with it if you stole it?
Good question.
And to keep their streets safe. One couple even putting a tracker on their slow down sign that keeps getting ripped off.
They put AirPods on the slow down sign.
Uh-oh. Some teenager's going to get in big trouble.
Let's go out to Steve.
AirTags, excuse me.
Large, he's live in Midtown Sacramento, with the unusual places they found it, Steve.
Yeah, live in Boulevard Park here, standing next to this slow down sign. He's on duty now, the little green man with the backwards red hat, and he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. These cars are slowing down, as you can see right here. But this little green man has been on some very...
Let's see how slow they are when the news van's not right there doing a live shot.
Then it's the Indianapolis 500.
There are people in my neighborhood that have these signs, And there are some people that are very respectful of them. And then there are some people that decide to use my side street as a place to do the Indy 500.
Well, how much of that can you blame on Waze? Because a lot of those apps redirect people from the main thoroughfares because they're always clogged up, and they push you on the smaller city streets.
Big adventures, and he's been found miles away.
I can make him set off his alarm.
It's a tracker.
We just call him the Green Man.
To locate this slow down sign, fast becoming a target of thieves.
I'd say it's like a monthly occurrence.
Tyler,
How many of these do they have to buy?
I guess they have to buy more of those than I do sunglasses.
Can you get them at Costco and buy them in bulk? Crazy writes in, couldn't even take the normal kid sign, had to pick the slow one. B writes in, put rotting meat from the fire in the base of that kid. It won't go anywhere. That's a good point.
Whitmire and Billy Krimmel put the tracker on their Green Man after he was stolen once, and since then, he's been stolen 3 more times. Each time, they've tracked him down to 3 different locations: an auto glass business, a home, and an apartment unit.
No one's ever.
Wait, so they're stealing it so they can use it so people will slow down in front of their kids?
Okay, so it's Karen stealing from Karen's. This is a new one.
Karen, why are you doing this?
The one who actually took it is someone's friend, and I can't tell you where the flag went.
Whitmire and Krimmel put the slow down sign on their Midtown block where they say speeding is rampant. They've asked the city to put up speed bumps or a roundabout to slow traffic down.
We've been trying for years to get the city to do something about the speeding on our street. It's just too easy to go fast.
The problem is pervasive.
Isaac Gonzalez is founder of Slow Down Sacramento, who says the number of people killed in vehicle crashes on city streets this year is 22, on pace to break last year's mark of 32. He urges the city to take action immediately in problem spots ID'd by residents.
Just do something. And if it's wrong, we'll do something else. But
that's not how government works.
No. And that's also not what's interesting about this story. What's interesting about this story is when Karens eat their own.
why are we waiting for people to die before we do something? Too often in Sacramento, that's what we do. We wait until somebody dies.
First, it shows a broad
I wonder
map.
what this guy's story is. Out of all the things that you can do with your free time, he decides to start an organization, Slow Down Sacramento. What kind of truck do you think hit him?
Couple's slow down sign, it's a small effort to keep their street safe. Now they're battling with speeding and stealing.
Yeah, it's a little scavenger hunt. But, at the same time, like, he's got work.
What's the conversation like when you go find wherever this thing ended up? Or did they just steal it back?
Well, one of them was a glass shop, right?
Yep.
Deal.
And he's doing that work right now. So thieves, you've been warned. There is a tracker on this slow down sign. Now, the city of
I have a feeling this story is only going to encourage more people to steal that little thing.
No, I think what it's going to encourage them to do is run it over.
Sacramento has told this couple that roundabouts and speed bumps are no longer options that they consider in Midtown because of emergency vehicles needing to get around. So right now they have a traffic engineer working on some possible solutions.
Whatever you do, don't get the traffic engineer, whoever designed the weird half roundabouts we have here next to the radio station. Everyone gets confused all the time.
Oh, those are so awful.
So there you go. This little green sign that's supposed to have people slow down for the kids playing keeps getting stolen over and over and over again.
He kind of looks like an alien, so maybe that's why people steal him.
They think it's a UFO?
Yeah. That's how they sell the beef jerky in the middle of the desert.
Someday they're going to try to track down this thing after it gets stolen again. They're not going to like what it ends up being.
No.
It's not going to end well. Also, make sure you wash that thing. We got a message here from Jane. I think the AirTags would be an incentive for the little bastards to steal it just to leave it in the funniest place possible. Do a graphic of the turtle on top of the Empire State Building.
You know what you could do? You could steal it and put it inside one of Pinky's vans.
Oh, boy. If you didn't hear that story, that video is up on the YouTube channel, that segment from yesterday. It is wild. Go to youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio after the show.
All right, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
We couldn't make this stuff up if we tried.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
It's the California Crime Blotter.
And Randy, this edition takes us to San Diego.
Here's one. Somebody was drunk at a bar, was told it's time to go. He didn't take too kindly to that advice, so he pulls out his slingshot like he's Bart Simpson and starts shooting everybody with it.
Well, I guess now Opie has a record.
For more on this, we go to CBS 8 in San Diego.
A bizarre situation unfolded in Vista. A man arrested and accused of firing a slingshot inside a bar, hitting a window and at least one person inside.
News 8's Kelly Hessedal talked to the bar owner and has the latest from Vista.
Yeah, and this all happened here at the Scotland Yard pub here in Vista. This is a very well-known bar here in Vista. I'm told that this guy apparently was causing some problems inside the bar. Staff told him to leave.
It sounds like one of those guys that goes to a Scottish bar and they says, I want a scotch. He says, do you want it on the rocks? No, there's already enough water in it.
Who was it? Oh, I think it was Dan Rather. AJ Benza used to go drinking with him back in the day. And he ordered a scotch on the rocks. I think his order was actually a wild turkey. And when he'd order the wild turkey, the bartender would ask him, do you want that with water? And his response was, no, I said I was thirsty, not dirty.
And that's when he pulled out this small slingshot. It was described.
Where do you get a slingshot in 2026?
I guess you make it yourself?
To me as a toy-like one and started firing it.
He just was talking to some people. They didn't like it. We asked him to leave. He didn't like it, and he got his little slingshot out. Boys will be boys. I don't know. He probably found it.
What is this guy, like 60?
I'm sure.
Or had it in his car. I'm really not sure.
Courtney Wilson is the owner of Scotland Yard Pub. Last night around 8.
I love that the Scotland Yard Pub is next to a mom and kids nutrition store. So dad has a place to go and mommy and baby have a place to go.
What do you do if you're sitting in a bar and some drunk moron starts shooting off a slingshot in the middle of the bar?
I think it's time for the check.
8:30, deputies responded to the bar after a man identified as 33-year-old Cameron Van Oostendorp caused a lot.
Dutch?
I think that is a Dutch name.
If it starts with a van, all right, we know what's going on here. We're dealing with the Dutch.
You think he had too many Heinekens?
A lot of commotion. Sheriff's deputies say he was asked.
Maybe he's actually from Amsterdam and was shocked why the Heineken tastes like butt here and it tastes so good where he's from. Seriously, if you think Heineken tastes awful, try it in Amsterdam. It's amazing.
To leave, but then returned with a slingshot and began firing projectiles, hitting a window and a customer in the hand.
He hit a person, but they stayed and business was as usual. Nobody was really bothered.
Did somebody make some offhanded comment about Rembrandt?
That person was so drunk, they didn't have the faculties to get up and leave after they got shot with a slingshot. They just sat there and kept drinking.
Deputies say a witness gave them the license plate of the suspect's Jeep. They located the suspect's
Jeep? I thought it would be a Schwinn.
vehicle a couple miles away on Copper Drive and arrested him. Dina Evans owns a business a few doors down from the bar.
Being a slingshot instead of a gun, I never promote violence. I think
Someone start asking him the wrong kinds of questions about stroopwafels.
Don't piss him off.
He was upset. He was mad at somebody, but I think it's a better way to go than with a gun. Haven't heard of that one since David and Goliath, but hey, to each their own.
Things happen when people drink. Some people.
Boy, that's the understatement of the year.
I need to remember to make that a drop. It's a little more complicated now when we're doing the video, but I will do my best.
Are happy drunks and people are bothered, Unfortunately, he was just bothered by being asked to leave. And
I'll show you.
I'll be back with my slingshot.
I'll make this an open door bar. Break all the windows.
And he did what he did.
Van Oostendorp caused about $1,500 in damage, according to the sheriff's office, and faces several charges, including felony assault, vandalism, and resisting arrest. Kelly Hessedal, News 8.
So there you go. The allegedly Dutch man that decided to trash a bar with a slingshot because they said he had one too many Amstel lights.
Do you think he sobered up in time for his paper route? It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Randy, how are we doing with the likes on today's broadcast and with the subscriptions to the Accountability Podcast?
All right, let's give you all of our numbers right now. The like button means that YouTube will push us out to more places, so we encourage you, if you're watching us at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio, smash that like button. We're at 156 likes for today's show. When it comes to subscribers for this main feed, we're at 2,588 subscribers. Thank you so much. And for our Accountability Podcast feed, we're at 1,040 subscribers. Because we broke 1,000 today, we are going to, at 2:35, play the famous call, Kathy from Malibu, in its purest video form with all kinds of crazy AI images, and I can't wait for you to see it. And it is a big thank you for getting us to over 1,000 subscribers in just the first couple of weeks of that podcast.
All right, Randy, it's time to reopen the California Crime Blotter.
It's happened yet again.
It's Wild Wild West out here.
It's the California Crime Blotter with John
And Randy.
And Randy, this one might involve the largest fine for being an idiot on the 4th of July.
Del Paso Heights was pushing out all kinds of fireworks fines, up to $300,000 worth, because they take this stuff seriously in Sacramento County. For more on this, let's go to a report from Fox 40 in Sacramento.
We are getting our first look at the number of illegal fireworks citations expected to be handed out from the 4th of July. Fire officials say hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines are expected to be issued after identifying dozens of violators over the holiday weekend. Fox 40's Noah Anderson joining us now live in studio with those details. Noah.
Yeah, that's right, Nikki. Sacramento Fire says at least 70 property owners are expected to receive those citations for illegal firework use.
And they were able to do this with the drones. So, Johnny, your theory was proven wrong. They did not shoot them down.
I wonder if any of those drones were shot down on the 4th of July.
Sky Park in South Sac and Del Paso Heights, two of the biggest hotspots for illegal activity over the holiday weekend. You can see it just here in this video, the debris that's been left behind from some of those fireworks. As for those citations, those will begin arriving in the mail in the coming weeks.
It was a very well-oiled machine. We had someone set up with Google Maps so we could track which house it was and then start counting the devices.
Holy cow!
That looks like an anti-aircraft device.
Going up.
70 citations totaling at least $300,000 in fines. Those are the preliminary.
They charge you per firework, and I am here for it.
Oh, my.
The estimates of fireworks citations expected to be mailed to property owners across the city of Sacramento in the coming weeks. The fire department sharing this drone video captured Saturday night as crews used multiple drones to catch people in the act.
We could even read the address.
It looks like Fallujah, or
It
maybe I
does.
should update my references. It looks like Tehran.
Numbers from the drones. They use the ambient light that's around to really capture a clear picture. So that's our evidence moving forward for the citations.
Captain Justin Sylvia says one home in Del Paso Heights alone is expected to receive more than $100,000 in fines. This video shows a fireworks display on Belasco Avenue.
They had a U-Haul trailer that they just kept pulling fireworks in and out of.
Dumbasses.
You know, I think I figured out a way for them to pay the fine.
What are they going to do?
They could just raid their kids' college fund, because I don't think the kid's going to need any of that money.
And they were large fireworks. One of them that they brought out was estimated to be about 4 feet long and about 2 to 3 feet wide.
The area.
That's a big old bomb.
That sounds like what was about to take out Garden Grove.
Remains littered with firework debris, with a similar scene at Sky Park in South Sacramento, another major hotspot for illegal firework activity. Fire officials will now review drone footage before those citations are officially mailed. This year's preliminary total already surpasses the initial estimates from July 2nd through July 5th of 2025, when the city of Sacramento issued 44 citations totaling $267,000 between fire and code enforcement. Though it remains remains below last year's final total after a major firework bust in Natomas pushed the overall amount to nearly $3 million.
Holy cow!
Totally ridiculous.
But only time will tell how much of this year's fines are actually collected.
We saw a lot bigger fines last year, and we collected about $150,000 of that money.
Wait, so they issued $3 million in fines and they only collected $150K?
Yeah, if you're shooting off fireworks like that on the 4th of July, my guess is you're not a stickler on paying your bills.
For those who can't pay, Captain Sylvia says the consequences can continue well beyond the holiday.
It does go to collections, and then they have to deal with the city attorney's office on figuring out how to pay that off.
Can you imagine you get a lien on your paycheck because you shot off too many fireworks?
Try explaining that to your boss.
We also reached out to Sacramento City Code Enforcement and Sacramento County for their preliminary firework enforcement numbers. At this time, they still say that it's a little too early to know those figures, but the county says that their code enforcement received more than 600 reports that they will review and investigate, with additional sheriff and metro fire violations that are possible as well. Nikki, back to you.
Noah, thank you.
So there you go, the big crackdown in Sacramento on illegal fireworks.
Idiots. All right, we've got one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show. Senator Ben Allen, candidate for California Insurance Commissioner, joins us next. Don't you go anywhere.
On the Red Caps. It's the John Phillips Show.
And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
Sometimes I don't think you understand how many things I'm doing at once.
You're spinning lots of blades.
Yes, 20 seconds before we get into the segment. Can you add a file photo for the guest? I will try to do my best. I'm starting to lose it, but I'm trying to keep a good spirit. I have a lot of things to do because we're not just broadcasting live on the radio anymore. We're also broadcasting on video at youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. You can also get us on X at Johnny Don't Like. You can get us on Facebook at KABC Radio and Facebook at KSFO. You can also get us on Twitch at Randy Wang Radio, but the Facebook's the most important one because we love you to hit that like button, hit the share button, subscribe as we continue to take over the internet.
All right. 800-222-5222 is telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. The state of California is experiencing an insurance crisis right now, where in some parts of the state, it's very difficult to find a company that's even willing to sell you a policy. In some parts of the state, the California Fair Plan is your only option. We're also seeing rates only going one way, up, 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 and away. Our next guest is running to be the next insurance commissioner for the state of California. He is a senator representing the west side of Los Angeles, cities that include West Hollywood, Santa Monica, and portions of L.A. You can follow him on X at Ben Allen CA. Senator Ben Allen, welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, let's start out with the basics. Why should you be the next insurance commissioner for the state of California?
Well, I've had a long track record working across the aisle, Democrats and Republicans, on a number of issues protecting consumers. I'm someone who has seen the dysfunction of the insurance system up close and personal, with so much of my district having burned during the recent fires, helping my constituents, hundreds and hundreds of them, get the payouts they deserve. We've now taken that work to a number of pieces of legislation to take on the insurance industry and make sure that people are better protected in the future. But I'm someone who's got a long track record of standing up for consumers. I'm proud to have the support of the Consumer Federation and a good list of Democrats and Republicans, folks from across the aisle. I'm up against someone who's a Democratic who wants to have a state take over the whole insurance system. And I'm really focused on trying to make the existing system work for working people.
You represent the West Side, as I mentioned before, and I believe that includes the Pacific Palisades. We have a number of listeners who lost their home to the fire in the Pacific Palisades. Some had everything burned down. Others just had substantial amounts of smoke damage that makes their home not livable. So they're trying to figure out just exactly what they can do to pick everything up and move on with their life. One of the common themes that I've heard from these listeners is that they're having a very difficult time getting their insurance companies to pay what they're owed. They have a contract with the insurance companies. They're not asking for anything above and beyond what's in the policy, but none of them believe that the insurance companies are fulfilling their obligations in terms of what was written in the policy and what the policyholder is due if something like this were to happen. It seems as though those experiencing smoke damage are having a much harder time than those whose homes burned to the ground. The ones that had their homes burned to the ground, it's not debatable whether or not you can live there because it's nothing but ashes. But it seems like there are massive fights going on right now for those who are experiencing severe smoke damage. Do you think the state has been doing enough to force these insurance companies to pay what these homeowners are owed?
I don't think so. That's why I've teamed up with the assemblyman who represents the Eden fire survivors to pass legislation. We're working on legislation right now to create a science-based, independent set of standards for smoke damage. Because just because your home is still standing, it doesn't mean it's actually habitable. And we've seen a number of companies, including the Fair Plan as well, just fighting people every step of the way, even though there's so much toxicity after a major fire. This is not your great-grandfather's forest fire, right? It's bad enough to breathe in, wood smoke. But now as neighborhoods burn, we're seeing levels of toxicity we've never seen before. Refrigerants, electronics, household hazardous waste, all getting burned and all that up into the air and into the houses nearby. And so it's really important that we have a better system in place that's going to have a higher set of standards it's truly based on human health and toxicity. And that's why I'm working with John Harabedian on this legislation. We've been pushing back really hard. We've been, the fair plan's been nickel and diming people. We've seen State Farm messing with people. We called for this audit that finally the insurance commissioner came out with, and he's now going to take them to task as a result of everything he found. But it's been very disappointing to see how some of these companies have behaved.
What you just said is the exact same thing that I've been hearing from our listeners as well. Those who've had the Fair Plan and State Farm specifically have been having the worst time trying to collect on their policy. It seems like Travelers and other companies are much easier to work with, but State Farm and the Fair Plan keep popping up over and over and over again as being bad actors.
Yeah, that's actually been one of the interesting things about representing this area. You really see an incredible range of responses from the companies. Some of these companies behaved really honorably. They paid out quickly. It worked how you want it to work. And yet others have been really terrible. One of the things that I want to do as insurance commissioner is create a scorecard, a report card of sorts, to give people more information about the difference in quality, in response from these various companies. If you think about it, I can't think of a single industry that has more vacuous, substanceless ads, right? Think about it. It's all gimmicks like geckos and geese and emus and jingles. And it really speaks to the fact that people don't actually look at the quality of the product or the substance of the product. It's just about name ID for these different companies. And so the public is just woefully underinformed, partly because this is one of these products that you hope to never use, right? If you have a bad experience drinking a certain beer or flying on an airline or going to a restaurant, you're not going to go back. But in insurance, it's one of those things that you hope to never use, and a lot of people have unfortunately been learning the hard way that they were with a company that just wasn't treating people as well as others.
It seems like the attitude is that it's a policy, it's a product that you have to buy to satisfy your bank. Your bank requires, if you have a loan, to have an insurance policy on your house. So you need to purchase this product. But it's one where if you use it, you know they're going to drop you. So it's really not a product, or I guess it's a one-time use product where you only call in a claim if it's something really substantial, like your home burns down in a fire. Yeah. But for just the run-of-the-mill claims, like things that you wouldn't have even thought about 10, 15, 20 years ago, now everyone's afraid to file a claim because they don't want to get dropped and then put on the open market.
It's like a hostage situation. We've got to change the dynamic. We've got to have somebody in this position who's going to be looking out for consumers and pushing back. And I'm seeing all these problems up close in my own community. It's been exasperating to watch, and it's part of what motivated me to run for this godforsaken position.
How much of this job do you think is behind the scenes maneuvering? And I say that because, obviously there's public posturing between the regulator and the insurance companies. And there's going to be times, I'm sure, where you have to go to war with them publicly. And, that's something I'm sure you're prepared to do. But it seems as though it would be easier to try to make these problems go away sooner if you could just deal with them privately, lean on them when you have to, and try to get them to do the right thing. How much of this job is having a relationship with the industry that is in a place where you can do that, where you can get these people on the telephone and you can say, hey, that's not right, knock it off?
I think it's a big part of the job. And quite frankly, a lot of politicians, unfortunately, would rather have the big public fight where they don't actually improve anything for people, rather than the more quiet discussions where you keep moving the ball forward on behalf of consumers. That's where that's my style. That's my focus. I'm certainly, as you say, prepared to have a big public fight if necessary. But I think it's much better, more efficient, and usually much better outcome for the public if we're able to get these things worked out But they're going to have to know that with me, they got someone who's just gone through the ringer in his own community and is going to be very focused on making the system really more responsive to regular people.
What do you think the odds are that State Farm and Allstate and other companies that have pulled out of the market in terms of homeowners insurance? I believe they're still selling auto insurance, but they're not selling homeowners insurance in California. What do you think the odds are they're going to be back here in the next 4 years, let's say, selling policies again?
I'd like to think it's relatively high, but I only want them to come back on, based on a new understanding, a fact that they're actually going to be providing real service to people. But your question is actually undergirds the dilemma that we're in from a public policy perspective. Yeah, we're all very frustrated with the industry. We all wish that they'd behave better. Nobody, the polling numbers for the insurance industry is incredibly low. The flip side is we need them here. We need them, a functional, healthy private insurance market is a critical part of undergirding a modern economy. It's how people buy a house. It's how people start a business. It's how people, are able to afford so many of the kinds of things that make our economy run. And so this is the tricky thing here. We've got to hold them accountable. We got to be tough on them. We also need them here. And that's going to be that's the tricky balance that the commissioner has to walk.
The insurance companies claim that they're not making any money in California right now, at least on homeowners insurance. Critics of the industry say they are making money in California. They're just making reckless investments on Wall Street, and they're trying to make up for it by raising insurance premiums for homeowners. Which one do you think is true?
It's more the latter. There's a little bit of the former in the sense that it's true. Last year, of course, was a bad year. It was a terrible set of fires. But the other central point is also correct. They make all these. They basically, their business model is to take everyone's premiums, put them in the market, make a lot of money on the market, and that's how they're able to run really good profits. So actually, believe it or not, last year was a good year for the national insurance industry because the market did so well, in spite of the fact that there was such terrible disasters that we experienced in California. So that's the challenge here. So yeah, last year it was hard for them in California, but they then went off with all their investments and did well on Wall Street.
You mentioned the FAIR Plan is a problem child when it comes to getting them to pay out on policies, at least for fire victims in Pacific Palisades. One of the things that Sacramento wants to do right now is reduce the number of people who are on the FAIR Plan. The current insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lara, had reforms instituted that were intended to reduce the number of homeowners that were purchasing that product from the FAIR Plan. Since then, the FAIR Plan has only increased, where more California homeowners are buying their policies from the FAIR Plan. In fact, a friend of mine who lives in a condo in the flats of Palm Springs, nowhere near any kind of fire danger at all, just had his downstairs neighbor sell her place, and the person who bought it could only buy insurance on the California FAIR Plan. And I go, that doesn't seem right. You're not anywhere near any kind of fire risk, but that was the only plan that this individual could buy. What is your plan to reduce the number of people who are on the FAIR Plan?
Yeah, so we've got to do, so first of all, the amount of people on the FAIR Plan is a sign of a really unhealthy market. The FAIR Plan was never built for this kind of portfolio. It is totally undercapitalized, totally oversubscribed. It's not able to handle this kind of growth. Now, I will say it has grown in size significantly. It's tripled in size over the last 4 years. Now, in the last few months, the growth has stopped, which is good. Like the growth rate is stabilized, and that's, I think, as a result of some of the work that the commissioner has been doing with the sustainable insurance strategy. But we got to go much further. Part of it has to do with increasing competition in the market, speeding up the rate review process, beefing up our enforcement division against fraud and other types of abuse, which have ended up becoming major cost drivers that are harming the market as well. But on the long term, there's really got to be a focus on risk reduction. How do we get communities and insurers and fire experts and builders together to really shift the culture in the state toward lower risk? And that's everything from the way people build their homes and manage their homes to the way that communities invest in firefighting and wildland management and water infrastructure, et cetera. And in return for that investment and that focus, we're going to have the insurance industry step up and actually reward communities and individuals who do that investment relating to risk reduction. And I think it's imperative. I think it's got to be up to the insurance commissioner to really drive that process. I go all over the state. I was up in Fresno just this weekend, in Madera. I've been up in Marinda and in Nevada County. Everywhere you go, there are local elected officials working really intensely on reducing fire risk in their communities, and yet they're not even able to get calls back from the industry. I think it's going to be part of the role of the next insurance commissioner to ensure that that dialogue is happening and that those communities that are actually reducing risk in a meaningful way are being rewarded with real available insurance and not just shuffling people off onto the FAIR plan.
Senator Ben Allen, candidate for insurance commissioner here in the state of California. You can follow him on X at Ben Allen CA. Senator Ben Allen, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
All right. Well, he sounds like he's pretty fluent in what's going on. Being the state senator for the Pacific Palisades, I'm sure he's been dealing with issues related to his constituents who are not getting their calls returned from the California Department of Insurance, who aren't getting the money that they're supposed to get from their insurance companies based on what's written in their policy. So hopefully with a background like that, if he were to be elected insurance commissioner, he would be an improvement from what we have now.
Yeah, but how many people are so fed up with the insurance commissioners that they're just going to say, screw it, let's do the socialist plan?
And that's who he's running against. Ben Allen is a Democrat from the state legislature. His opponent in the race is DSA from San Francisco, from the Board of Supervisors there, Jane Kim, who believes that the government should own the means of production, that we should have, I guess, a fair plan across the border, like a Medi-Cal version of insurance, where people just buy their insurance from the state of California, and that's who holds your policy.
What's funny is so many people think that's what the FAIR plan is, but it's not.
No.
That it is not state insurance. It is run by the insurance companies, and it gives them an incentive to give you worse coverage.
And we have to find a way to get people off that, especially people who are living in areas where there's no fire risk. It's stupid to put those people on the FAIR plan, make them pay through the nose for a policy they can't use when there's really no reason for them to be there in the first place.
Listener Casey writes in on YouTube, my dog would be an improvement over what we have now.
Well, what we have now is a guy who doesn't care. He just wants to travel around the globe and live like Ellie Mae Clampett.
Well, it is Pride Week. DJ Kitty Glitter is touring all over the place.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
It's the John Phillips Show.
I love my Solar Infrared Grill. I have had it for over a year, and I use it every week, and it does such a great job on chicken, on steaks, especially I love a good flat iron. I've does it on a top sirloin. I need to do a tri-tip. I need to do a smoked tri-tip and then finish it on the Solar. I think that would be great. It also does a great job on shrimp, on sausages. It's a hot and fast grill. It gets up to 1,000 degrees in just 3 minutes, which means that grilling is now something you can do every night, even on a work night, because it's that quick. Also, because it gets so hot so quickly and you're not waiting 20 minutes for the grill to turn on, I swear my propane lasts a lot longer than it used to. I love my Solar Infrared Grill, and you should check it out for yourself. See if it makes sense for you. I upgraded my grilling game, and I'm never looking back. I love this thing. Trying to convince my in-laws to get one for the house in Santa Fe. Go to the website, besthotgrill.com/Randy. That's besthotgrill.com/Randy.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you can watch us perform the show live, participate in the chat, and hit the like button, and it's all very easy.
Go to youtube.com/@Randy Wang Radio, or you can
do a Google on YouTube
and just search for the names John Phillips, Randy Wang. It'll pop right up. Or you can go to kabc.com or ksfo.com, and there's links there. And if none of that works, just email us and we'll send you the link. But we're here every single day broadcasting live on the radio and now on video. You can play around in the chat room with us. We're having lots of fun there during the breaks, and we encourage you. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed and share this video, especially if you want anyone to see that image of Karen Bass in a Breaking Bad getup. I had a lot of fun with it. Share this video. It's very easy. Hit the share button, put it on your socials, send it to your friends, your family, or any Reddit groups or Facebook groups that you're in. Anyone that talks about Los Angeles politics. Hell, put it in your next door. See how that goes.
And earlier today, a brand new edition of the Accountability Podcast dropped.
Accountability.
When the show signs off at 3 o'clock, I highly encourage you to watch the Accountability Podcast with John Phillips and Randy Wang, because you'll get to hear us react to an uncensored town hall of Karen Bass and Barbara Ferrer getting cussed out at the Boyle Heights Town Hall. Hey, look at this. Michelle writes in, I have subscribed and convinced 4 others to do that in the last 2 hours. Thank you. We're going to convert them like Mormons.
And because we got so many subscriptions, or at least 1,000, Randy, we have a treat coming up.
On the other side of the break, get ready for the world premiere of the Kathy from Malibu video.
It's the John Phillips Show.
Accidents happen constantly. If you happen to get hurt in one, I've been recommending for over 8 years one guy, Clark Fielding, and the Jaws of Justice at Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275, 833-88-SHARK. Even a minor accident can lead to a major long-term injury, so don't go at this alone. Don't try to shrug off the pain. Get the jaws of justice on your side, helping you out with your case. That's Clark Fielding at Fielding Law. 833-88-SHARK, 833-887-4275. Clark Fielding has got 5-star reviews on Yelp and Google. This is the guy that you want helping you out with your case, so find out if you have one. Get a free consultation from Clark Fielding and the Jaws of Justice at Fielding Law at 833-88-SHARK and go to the website, clarkthesharklaw.com.
Hurt in an accident? Bite back. Call Clark. 833-88-SHARK. clarkthesharklaw.com.
It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is a telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Welcome to all of you listening on the radio and watching us live on YouTube. We're at 195 likes. Let's get that north of 200 before the show is over. Thank you to all of those who have clicked the like button. And if you're watching and haven't clicked that like button yet, please do so. It really helps us spread the word. All right. We issued a challenge. What was it? Early this week or late last week?
So this all started a week ago where John came up with the idea, if we get 500 likes, we will premiere the Katie Porter video. And, well, we did that. I used AI to create a visual representation of the famous call from Mike from Valencia, who talked about his buddy that hooked up with Katie Porter. And, well, that seems to be our most popular show on YouTube to date.
Like, please.
So we decided, what else is out there? What else is very heavily requested? Well, when we were talking about playing that call, some people are like, well, we also want to hear that other call from years ago. This was like 2023 when I don't even remember what the topic was, but a lady named Kathy from Malibu called into the radio show to speak her mind. Now, before we play this, I'm just going to give us about 30 seconds here. If you are currently in a place to do so, and you're not actively driving, and you're just listening to us on the radio on 790 KABC or 810 KSFO, turn on the YouTube now. Go to youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio. That's youtube.com/@RandyWangRadio or
do a Google on YouTube
for John Phillips and Randy Wang, because we are about to premiere just exactly the back and forth that went on between us and Kathy in Malibu. And by the way, Kathy, if you're still out there somewhere, or though she does change her name from time to time, Sometimes she's like Miriam from Alta Loma. Please call in because you're about to get made famous all over again.
Now, Randy, let's wait another moment or two to give people time to pull everything up on YouTube because sometimes it takes a minute. And you said on yesterday's program, now that we've hit that 1,000 subscriber threshold for the Accountability Podcast, the next goal that we have is 2,500 subscriptions. If we get 2,500 subscriptions for the Accountability Podcast on YouTube, you have another treat for the audience.
All right. People have been asking for this for years, and I finally figured out how to do it. If we can get to 2,500 subscribers on the Accountability Podcast, youtube.com/@accountability podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. Here's what we will do for you. People love the drops that we play on the show that we've collected over the years, but I'm the one who's in control of the soundboard. I'm the one that plays the sound of Katie Porter.
Why do you have to watch porn in the living room?
Well, what if you were the one with the soundboard? What if you had our top 100 drops that we've collected over the last 8 years from the John Phillips Show?
I'm Tom Steyer, and I'm about to ride the D.
So here is our challenge to you. If you can help us get to 2,500 subscribers on the Accountability Podcast, I have built a website ready to go that is your very own John Phillips Show soundboard.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It has our top 100 drops picked by me, but if there's something that you want added to it, we will add to it. And you will be able to play them on all you want. You just hit the button and it plays. It actually works almost as good as the stinger that I used to play this stuff right here at the radio station.
Get that money!
So if you want your brand new, your very own John Phillips Show soundboard to play with on your own time, it'll be 100% free. All you have to do is get us to 2,500 subscribers because I had to pay $30 for the website and then another $40 for the domain name.
It's a lot of crime now.
But all of the drops that you love, yes.
She called me a crime boss.
That's going to be one as well. I can't wait to show you guys this website, but we need you to subscribe to get us to that goal. That's our next stretch goal, and then after that, it'll be Tijuana River time.
All right. I think we've given people enough time to pull up the show on YouTube. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, click that like button. That helps us out a lot with the algorithm. It seems like 150 more people just signed up on YouTube. That's great. All right, let's go ahead and debut what might be the most famous call in the history of the John Phillips Show.
Here is Kathy, thanks to AI.
Let's go to Kathy. Kathy, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm a big fan of Martha Stewart. Yes, and the day I was telling your screener, the day that she converts to electric versus gas, then I will, because she's the hallmark. And
where are we going with this?
She has a home here in Malibu. And trust me, she doesn't cook on electric. And by the way, also, Madonna, you would have her in a minute.
What time do they start happy hour at Gladstone's?
She looks like a little a Danish girl with braids. You would have her in a minute. Don't knock Madonna.
What kind of orange juice do you like with your mimosas?
Then why is everybody laughing?
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
There you go, everybody. That was Kathy from Malibu.
Let's go to...
It was one of the most surreal moments that we ever experienced in this show. And it gone on a life of its own because not only did it air the one time, but then somehow inexplicably, it kept showing up on like replays that would air at 9 o'clock at night over and over and over again. And we would get these emails, Johnny, of being like, oh, we heard the Kathy from Malibu call again over and over and over again.
I love the fact that she must have assumed in her drunken state that we were broadcasting from Jeffrey Epstein's island because her sell for Madonna was that she looked like a little Danish girl.
Just in case anybody is tuning in late, why don't we play this call one more time? And again, it's one thing to hear the call. I spent like 3 hours on a Saturday building all the graphics for this. I actually, and this is true, I think I texted you. I didn't know that at some point Google Gemini tells you, you've used me too often. You need to wait 2 hours. I got put in the timeout stool. All right. Let's see it.
Let's go to Kathy. Kathy, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm a big fan of Martha Stewart. Yes.
And I think the prompt for that one was, Crazy Lady is Martha Stewart's biggest fan.
And the day, I was telling your screener, the day that she converts to gas, no, electric versus gas, then I will, because she's the hallmark. And
where are we going with this?
She has a home here in Malibu.
And if you can see, the home in Malibu has special security to keep Kathy out.
Trust me, she doesn't cook on electric. And by the way, also, Madonna, you would have her in a minute.
It took a while for Google to let me even make this prompt happen of John Phillips trying to seduce Madonna.
So what did you have in mind when you were making this? Her on the same train as Tom Steyer?
I mean, if you can tell, the woman in the background has a stopwatch because she's trying to see if you really could have her in a minute. What time do they start happy hour at Gladstone's?
She looks like a little a Danish girl with braids.
For some reason, the algorithm or the AI generation kept wanting to know why I wanted to put Madonna in Danish braids and was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's weird. That would be strange. She's the queen of pop. I don't want to do it. So then I just sent it a picture of Madonna and said, make this lady have Danish braids. I found out my way.
Would have her in a minute.
And there's John seducing Madonna with Danish braids.
Thank you for not turning me into Bill Cosby there.
Bang! Don't knock Madonna.
What kind of orange juice do you like with your mimosas?
Then why is everybody laughing?
Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
See, I don't know how we're going to top that one. Those were the two most famous calls we ever had on the show. So I don't know what we do next.
Well, maybe Kathy will call back and she'll give you an inspiration for the next one.
Oh, wouldn't that be special? Because I can think of a couple ideas. Like, what if we go through that interview that Shang Tao did where she talked about getting raided by the FBI?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I don't know. The prompts that would come from that might actually be too explicit for even the YouTube.
Well, she was topless when the raid happened.
I think bottomless, too.
Oh, God. Well, I guess you couldn't say she was reaching for a gun.
So that was our thank you. The video will be live on the Accountability Podcast YouTube channel, so you can watch it all you want. And the Katie Porter video, which we released on Friday, that is also available on our Randy Wang Radio YouTube channel. You can watch it all you want. You can see it, and you can even smell it right here.
You can smell it right here.
And don't forget, if we get up to 2,500 subscribers on the Accountability Podcast page on YouTube, then you get your very own soundboard too with all of the drops that we play on this show.
You will not only be able to play all of them in an easy array that you can use on your phone or on a computer, but you can download all of the sounds, our top 100 drops, and there's a lot of Katie on there. But, especially because this cost me a bunch of money, we can't give it to you, this beautiful website that I created, until we get to 2,500 subscribers on the Accountability Podcast. If you're already subscribed, thank you. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your Facebook groups, your Nextdoor apps, Reddit, whatever you have to do. We need you to help us blow up the internet and get everyone paying attention to this little show that we're doing from noon to 3 every day, and our Accountability Podcast.
It's the John Phillips Show. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
I love that a bunch of people now think that Karen Bass in her picture as Walter White from Breaking Bad looks like she's in Run DMC. All right, now this is complicated, but I kind of like the idea, although it would be a lot of work. Robert thinks that our next slideshow should be the Barbara Ferrer Halloween story.
Oh, that would be interesting.
The complication with that is that the music under it is from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, and I would have to figure out how to get rid of the music or have you read the thing dry.
Oh, my. Well, that is an idea.
That's an idea. If you have more ideas for how we can create more work for me to increase our subscribers, you can email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com.
Facial recognition is now coming to grocery stores in the Bay Area.
Specifically at grocery outlets, this is a plan to stop shoplifting with AI facial recognition technology. And eagle-eyed fans of the show know that the graphic that I had AI make for this one misspelled shoplifting, and I didn't catch it till we made it to the air. You know what I say? Good enough. For more on this, we go to KPIX in the Bay.
Meantime, a Bay Area-based supermarket chain is rolling out a controversial new way to prevent theft. Grocery Outlet is implementing facial recognition technology in several of its...
Who goes to the grocery outlet to steal what? The 2-year-old box of Rice Krispies?
Okay, but here's the issue. It's not as if they don't know who's stealing from them. It's that no one does anything about it.
Bay Area stores. So it's aimed at stopping shoplifters before they even make it through the front door. So our Maddie White is live at the Pleasant Hill Bargain Market with a look at how it works. It sounds interesting, Maddie, but I'm hearing that some shoppers are split on how they feel about it. Tell us about it.
They absolutely were, Juliet. Most recent FBI crime data shows that shoplifting in California is at an all-time high and that we're now about 50% worse than where we were pre-pandemic. And that may explain why grocery stores like Grocery Outlet behind me here in Pleasant Hill are turning to AI for help. At some Grocery Outlet stores, shoppers are now being greeted by more than just a security camera. Signs on the front door for something called Safer say facial recognition software is being used to identify people suspected of shoplifting.
I've never heard of this technology being used in this way, but this is the stuff that they have at the Clippers Arena, the Intuit Dome, where it scans your face and you never have to show them a ticket for anything. In fact, you can buy popcorn just by scanning your face. It is wild.
Alerting store employees if someone on its watch list walks inside. For some customers, that makes perfect sense.
I worked for years as a manager of a store, and the theft was just unbelievable.
June Guerrero says she's watched retailers...
That girl buys a lot of Pepsi.
If you see someone who you know is a thief that walks in, you still have to have someone walk up to them and say, "You're a thief, get out."
Typically, we don't want that because that might create a bigger incident.
Yeah, you think?
The cost of theft for years and has no problem with the new technology.
I don't at all. I agree with it.
Others support the goal, but not necessarily how it works.
I do understand, but, invading my privacy with my picture, everybody going in and out, I don't agree on that.
She don't like it.
I wonder if she doesn't like it because she doesn't want people keeping tabs on how often she hits up the grocery store for Twix bars.
Gotta kind of find a better way.
It's worth noting, Safer's privacy policy states unmatched customer images are deleted immediately. Then there are shoppers like Steve Burdett. who aren't worried about being on camera. They're worried about whether AI gets it right.
It could lead to a lot of problems, I think.
That same question.
I mean, AI is not perfect. I created that image of me as a goat herder with 3 hands.
How much do you want to bet all of the casinos in Las Vegas already do this? People who rob from casinos, people who count cards, people who have been asked to leave before. I bet you they have a computer with all of that information on it.
Okay, I want to know what this lady's story is. She's walking out with as many frozen peas as she can carry.
Maybe she has a slingshot too.
Can AI get it wrong? Is one technology experts are watching closely too.
There's about a dozen states where the collection of biometric information requires opt-in consent. California isn't one of them.
Mario Trujillo.
Hey, we can all spy on each other. Great.
All right, that's going to do it for us today, but we'll be back tomorrow at noon for another edition of The John Phillips Show.